Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Friday, the 22nd of November. I am Flatcap Callum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. It's Thursday night, not quite ramble tonight. We are going to do the quick review of Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday, I did a video on Wednesday. Didn't do anything Thursday, so we'll do a quick review of that. We'll go to Friday's bet, 7 horses, each way Trixie on the jumps, and an each way Yankee on the all-weather in the evening. That's the play, 1850. And then I'm going to get us up to speed with where we were with Tips League, because I've got behind on that. So we'll go through 2 weeks ago and we'll go through last week's and bring us all up to date, ready for the weekend on the Tips League. Not planning any other kind of rambles, but you never know. The Thursday night Vimto's on the go. So I'm not trying to keep rhyming. I don't know why that's... just rhyming, but not deliberately. Strange. I think that's where we're at. So I only played once this week. Played Wednesday. Lost, as has been the case. But there was definitely a bit more promise to it, is what I would say. So I don't want to lose, but there was more green shoots than there's been from this just loss. So not where we want to be from a channel stats point of view. If you are new to following me and what I do, I'm not what a lot of people do, and at the moment I'm not proving it to be successful in the short term. In the long term, yes. But what I do is focus on bigger prices and string them together in multiples. Lots of folk do individual horses and do win only, and that's what they aim to do. So I'm trying to get a certain volume of framed horses, horses making the places. The win is sort of like an icing on the cake for what I do. In recent probably 6 weeks, not really been demonstrating that very well, but overall we're not massively behind since I've been back. We are behind for this year quite significantly. In the history of the channel, we're all right, and I would love to hit some sort of nice win soon, but yeah, you never owed, sometimes you do. So anyway, Wednesday review, that was the main bet. Absolute no, it was up the pace, faded, didn't look interested despite going off at half the price. I thought it would be backed in, it was. That was also well backed in, was a close 6th, but not close enough for a top 4 place, obviously. Obama Army, that was also backed in, was placed, so that was the only placed horse of the bet. Tempest, as I suggested, it did go for a bit of a wander mid-morning. You could have got 25s, wouldn't have mattered because it was close again, but not quite close enough. It was 7th overall, but close 7th, and then no news was poor. So we just got a tiny bit back for a place on Obama Army on bet 1. Bet 2 was close to being quite nice, but it was sort of more like in the money back territory. So that just missed the places. That made the places. That was paid out for Sky, if anyone used Sky, and that one paid out. So it was a place double, 12s and 16s, although there was a 35p rule 4 on that one, I think it was, off the top of my head. So sort of money back on bet 2 specifically. And then, yeah, we didn't quite pull it off on the bottom of bet 3, so close on here. It depends on, I mean, I didn't do any singles or anything on these for the channel, but... that went for a drifter, came back in a bit and just missed the places. That was the one that placed, but it was the 40-1 drifter of the 4. That was shortened up and wasn't far away. Mbappe was given a bit of a poor ride, to be fair, by Mason Patel, who I mentioned a good while back after his about 3rd ride. Fair play to the lad. He's finally got over the line and he had a winner on Thursday. First winner. He has had 3 second places and a winner. As I said back when I first mentioned him after his 3rd ride or whatever, you definitely want to keep on side of him. I wouldn't back him blind. So far, his 3 runs at Kempton have been poor. So whether that's Kempton specific in his learning, whether that is, well, it could even be go right-handed because most of the other all-weather tracks are left-handed, and it might just be he's got a slightly better judge naturally going left-handed if that's what he's used to. I don't know. It could just be an anomaly, but keep an eye on him. And then yeah, we were poor here. I think that ended up being last, that horse. So I think I had it as 2050 on. With the rule 4s, 461 back, a loss of 15.89. So let's go into our Friday bets. So each way jumps handicap Trixie. I haven't done many jumpers and I haven't done many handicappers, but I've got 3 we're going to give a spin to different meetings on Friday, 2:32 Tipperary, Ladium 12-1. Quite like the form. I think it's if it comes on from last time, it was running over a shorter distance. It's a 3 mile handicap for Friday. It's run 4 races above 2.5 miles and run consistently well on variety of ground. And so, yeah, going back up in distance looks a positive. It clearly had a break for a reason. That would be a slight niggle, but didn't run too badly last time. And the jockeys run the horse before and done reasonably all right on him. So Ladium's in at 12-1. It's the only one. There's 3 big field handicaps at Tipperary. It's the only horse I liked at Tipperary. 2:40 Ascot. I have had a little debate. So it's a shorter one by my standards. Accion Risque, something like that. 9-1. It's the Gordon's horse. It's a really interesting race. There's quite a few 5-year-olds dominating it in terms of the betting, and they've obviously come from a kind of an unexposed kind of a place, whereas this one is exposed. The interesting thing with this horse is it was much better than it was handicap mark, and then it clearly had some problems, had a dip. And I read the form like it's getting back to whether it will get back to where it was, don't know, but it looks like it's coming on for each run. And it's one of the only horses that's turned up at Ascot before, and it performed all right. So it's got some form at Ascot, which is quite important. I felt like it was worth playing at 9-1, even though there's quite a few unexposed horses. And then we're going to 3:25 Chepstow, Zambezi at 28. My mind's gone on why that one was a good idea at the time, but I think that does need to get back to some form. It's sort of a mid-distance at Chepstow, that one. Again, I think it looks like it will go on a variety of grounds. I think it's done all right on good and soft, and it should be out in between ground at Chepstow. I think there's reasons to. I think it was the first time out this season and last season didn't look so good, but sometimes you find that you get a gap. So horses sort of tail off at the end of one season, they need a run at the start of the next season, and then they kick on. That's right. So the horse normally does much better after a first run. That's why I liked it as well. Other reasons, but that's what I just remembered. So Zambezi 28-1, 50p each way Trixie. It's £1 win singles on Ladium and Anchor Risque. I can't pronounce that horse. And a 75p each way single on Zambezi. Sky come out best. And then in order for you to get the 5 places, not all bookies are 5 on that top and bottom race. So 365, Paddy, Coral, Betfair, Ladbrokes, Unibet, Betfred, Betway. Basically, major bookmakers, Hills and 888 is the ones you don't want to use. 750 is the bet. So that's bet 1. And then the all-weather bet, I've come down on this. So 5:45 Newcastle Martinsbrig is pretty consistent over course and distance. Basically it's one of those ones where it's going to have to fall right if it's going to win, but I think it's good value for a place, that horse. So it's the only 2-star of the day actually, Martinsbrig 11-1. 6 o'clock Dundalk didn't make star rating, but it was a rated race, and they're quite hard, and I don't really have they're so infrequent. I mean, generally speaking, in Ireland they have them, and they don't have them so much in the UK. But I guess the equivalent might be a conditions race, so it's sort of like. Yeah, I don't even know if you call it that. It's a bit of a funny old gig with the rated races. So it's sort of in between a handicap and listed, but you have to sort of do some weight adjustments to come out with it. So current option didn't hit star system because it's type of race. Aidan McGuinness generally runs a horse in the race and generally runs it trying. And current option on its best form should be a framer, but it's an inconsistent horse, hence why it's got the price. But there's nothing in there that I think looks like it's sort of loaded to sort of romp away with the race. And so, if current option's on a good day, they have put the hood back on, which it's used to have on. I think the last 3 runs they haven't had the hood on, but the hood's back on, so that's a plus point. Last time it won, it did have a hood on. It was at Fairy House. 6:15 Newcastle, Kit Gabriel. It's an interesting profile of a horse. Changed stables. And if you ignore the last run for the last stable, it's not too. It's sort of performed fine without really threatening to win a race. And I think it's probably down to an interesting handicap mark. And Seb Spencer, has done all right with horses he's picked up from other trainers, first or second time out. So yeah, I felt like it was worth chancing. The betting market's already moved on that, and it was a bigger price, but 18s is fine. And then finishing off 8 o'clock Dundalk, Wrecking Ball Pool. It's a winner or it's a nowhere, that kind of horse. It sort of, it can, if it gets up, should be bowling along in front potentially. Ran really well over a 2-mile race at Dundalk doing that. This is a 1 and 4 mile, but it has got previous over that distance too. It's a funky horse who, yeah, it'll either be there at the finish vying for the win, or it won't be anywhere. I can't, I say that, it'll probably come fourth now, but I'll take fourth. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. 25p each way Yankee. A £1 win single on Martin's Brig and 75p each way singles. Current option, Kit Gabriel, Wrecking Ball Pool. £11 is the bet. The betting advice here really circles around this because these aren't extra place races. So it's this 5.45 Newcastle. Because there's a really short price favourite, even though there's 12 runners, most bookies aren't 4 places. But 365, Unibet, Betfred, Betway, Boyle Sports are. And then you don't get 4 places with Sky, but you would do on that one, I think. So, yeah, those would be the 6 best bookies. But you have to be a bit careful because if that one comes fourth, we'll only get certain people getting paid out. £11, that's bet 2. All right. That's the wagers. And then we'll get to Tips to League. So 2 Saturdays ago... I do apologise, Paulie. He's been waiting very patiently for his name in Sharpies because prior to 2 weeks ago, Paulie was, he probably doesn't even know this, ranked 3rd worst overall in the whole Tips League for the whole of the year. He'd been struggling to have any decent days in the Tips League, been playing a lot, 3rd worst overall. And then he comes in with a zinger 2 weeks ago, so it's the 9th of November. We had 71 players, 15 made profit, 56 did not. Paulie Witt, 250 quid, an absolute stonking win. Harry Shaw then was on 140, a very clear second. And then the bunch finish for the minors. Drawman, 28. Daniel B, Scott Harvey both had 23. Buzz, 18, 65, 11. All the way down there, including Susan at 9th. And obviously, any regular followers of the channel will know Susan's like a Brazilian footballer. She doesn't need a second name. She's just Susan and everybody knows who she is. 880. She was 9th. So that's where we stood. And then after that point, so if you looked at the November League tables, this was the second Saturday. The top 3 here were the top 3 after the second Saturday of November. And also, interestingly, at that point, if you looked at the results just from since I've come back on Tips the League, those 3 would have actually then were at that point the top 3 overall. So from joint returning when we did October, I think we started in October. So if you add in all the Saturdays we've had since I've been back on, Paulie, Harry and Strawman were the top 3. That's slightly changed, but that's where they were. And that also put Paulie into the top 10 overall. Then last week, a blast from the past. We haven't had the name up there for a while. Samar Kevin, those who remember, he performed particularly well in last year's Tips League. 60 quid was top of the pops. Then number 2, new entry, Chloe Tucks, £46. Out of nowhere, bowls in, it comes second place. And then we had Mike Fletcher and Paulie Witt backed up his win from the week before with a joint 3rd place, 35 quid. So well done, Paulie. You're on a little bit of a 2-week roll. And then you'll see the rest of the top 10 there. Some familiar names, some less familiar names. We've got Charlie Winters in there. He's got his own channel that some of you follow. He plays sometimes in Tips League. He was 8th. Adam Ascot, again, he's got a cracking knack of hitting profitable weeks, even if he's not winning big on them. But we had 49 entries, 10 won, 39 did not. That was last week. And then, if I spin you through the overall top 10 for the whole year as we stand, here's where we currently are at. Overall top 10 from beginning of January. Shosman, 310's, been top of the pops for a long time, only played 3 weeks, hasn't played for a very long time. Dinosaurs roamed the earth the last time he played the Tips to League. We've got 2 now very close in behind. Mike Fletcher, 296. Des Gibbons, 295.90. Paulie Witt, 158. So he's made 285 profit in the last 2 weeks. You can do the maths and work out what he was behind before, but he's 158 overall, 4th place. Samar Kevin's now got himself into the 5th place, 148. Then we've got Gomez, Adam Esat for all his extra endeavour. David Field doesn't play every week, but when he does, he's clearly on the money, 120 quid. And then John who's been in the top 10 for a really long time, and then Stephen Taylor. That's the current top 10. All right. Tips League will be back. I think it's Ascot Haydock this Saturday. So that is where we're going to be playing, or you're going to be playing. I don't play the Tips League. I present it. Stephen's the man who does all the great stats for me. What did he say to me? Yeah, in the last email, he also said, Samar Kevin. So shout out to Samar Kevin. That your win now puts you second in the overall history of everness. So if there was a league table since I've ever done the Tips League, Des is number 1, Samar Kevin is number 2 on the overall forever ever league table, if that was something we were doing as well. So well done. So Tips League will be back Saturday, hoping as it would normally be, because last week it ended up being a comment on the Thursday video because I kind of wasn't doing stuff over the weekend, and as I said in the last video, I had some family stuff that had to take priority. But planning that I should be able to get a vid out for Saturday. Not sure whether it be Friday night or Saturday morning. All right, that is me. I'll leave it there. And I'll see you on the next video. As I said, not sure. Friday night, Saturday morning. But all I would say actually about the weekend is I'll probably be extra cautious because I'm just mindful of the weather. Lots of rain, lots of wind. The going's going to be flip-flopping. There's going to be non-runners. And yeah, I think I'll just be a bit careful. So what that means overall, don't know. But I would imagine Friday selection's our main day. I don't think I'll be putting as much out for Saturday or Sunday at this point. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.